Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, that were well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. And this lesson is going to be titled, If Your Treasure is on Earth, then you're going to take the MOTB. All right? Your treasure is upon earth. You're going to take the MOTB. And this comes from Matthew chapter 6, 19 to 21. Right? And it says, and this is when Yahweh Shai was speaking. I believe this is a part of his sermon on the mount that he gave over 2,000 years ago, man. Okay? Let's see something. Yeah, because at the top of Matthew, the 5th chapter, right? It says, and seeing the multitudes, he went up into a mountain, and when he was set, his disciples came unto him, right? So he was on a, this is part of that Sermon on the Mount he gave, right? So this is the book of Matthew chapter 6, starting in verse 19. Yahweh Shai teaches us, and it says, lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. Yahweh Shai is saying, don't be... don't have your energy and don't lay up, stock, don't, like, for example, you have these dudes that's so focused on the materialistic things of this world and gaining them and getting them and achieving them. That's their whole energy, and that's all they, they just love, stacking that stuff up, man. They're all into that whole thing. Okay, they're all into the material possessions of this world, right? For example, some people like cars and a whole bunch of cars, money, a whole bunch of money and everything, There's people out there like that. Okay? There's people out there like that, man. Okay? And we see people like that around us all the time. These 2/3, a lot of them, are into that materialistic stuff, A lot of them are into this world, man. They have that wake up, go chase a bag mentality. If that's your mentality, chasing a bag as well, you're going to take that MOTB. All right, you're going to take the chip. If that's your mentality, you're going to take it. Okay, you're going to take it if that's your mentality, man. All right, but. Yahweh Shai is saying, don't, be all into that and don't stock, don't be, concerned with stacking up riches of this world, and treasures of, these earthly treasures and everything, right? Because look, he said where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. Yeah, where thieves break through and steal, man. Okay? Because people could steal all these things. You got a nice car, people could steal that. You got nice clothes, people could steal that. And it can get moth eaten. Right? You got nice jewelry, people could take that. Okay? You think your money's safe in the bank? Somebody could hack your money. All right? You see? All these earthly, possessions and everything, you're into that. One, you don't understand how easily that can get taken any day and at any time. The Lord can have it set up to where that can get taken from you. You see? So don't lay up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moths and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. Yeah, because people will do that. Like you see these rappers and entertainers and celebrities, they'll have $1 million house, and then and then in the middle of the night or wee hours of the morning, thieves will come breaking it and take whatever they can find real quick and then leave. See? They'll take prized possessions too. Verse 20, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. See? And how do you lay up treasures for yourselves in heaven? By basically doing the things you do in this truth. Being brotherly, alms, doing lessons, videos, all the things, the things you do in the truth. You're laying up for yourselves treasures in heaven. You see? And those treasures can nobody steal from you. You see, those things nobody could take from you. All right? Who the hell is going to break? Who the hell is going to take treasures, the Lord has stored up for you, man? Who the hell is going to take that away from you? And verse 21, it says, "For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." Where your treasure is, because people, once again, your treasure is basically like your desire. What you value. Okay, what you value, right? Yahweh Shai said, "There will your heart be also." Heart meaning mind. So whatever you value in this world, that's what you're going to be focused on. That's where your energy is going to be at. You see? So if your mind and if your heart is focused on this truth, if you treasure this truth, right, then you're already going to be in the mindset of storing up treasures in heaven. Then you're going to store them up. You see? With some people, their treasure is, once again, in the materialistic stuff of this world. The possessions. All right. Those things. Okay. People are so attached to all of this. You see, and we know that when this MOTB is made mandatory, and this doesn't only go for people in America, this is in general, man. All right? It's the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 10. "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth." So, and this hour of temptation is gonna be when the chip is made mandatory for the whole world to take. See, it's going to be upon the whole world. This isn't only an American thing. It's going to be upon the whole earth. Everybody's going to feel it, right? So so think about that, right? In the scriptures, we'll get it. I'm going to have to get it right now. Bear with me 1 second. Revelation 13, verse 16 and 17, "And he calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads." Right? And we know this mark is the chip. All right, the Greek word here is charagma for mark, right? And it's talking about the chip. It's a physical thing. Under the strongest definition, it goes into engrave, which engrave goes into meaning, etching, I believe. It either says etching or engrave. I believe etching, actually. And etching goes back to, when you look it up in the Edamon online, it goes back into meaning engrave, which goes into incise or cut, into the skin, into the flesh. And that's how they give you the sea hip, That's how they give you that chip, man. All right? That's how they give you that thing. So it's going to come a time where this devil is going to, make that thing mandatory for everyone to take. Now listen, this next verse, and it said the small, great, rich, poor, free, and bonds, people in jail or not, people that's, the hobos and all of that, everyone is going to, he's going to make it so that everyone, all right, is supposed to take this. He's going to make it mandatory. You see? But watch, the next verse is going to show you that if you don't have this thing, you're not going to be able to operate within society. Verse 17, "And that no man might buy or sell." See? That no man might buy or sell. See that? So, it says, "Save he," meaning except he who had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So, without this chip, all right, you're not going to be able to buy or sell anything. See? And you do those functions within society. You buy and sell within society, man. All right? You buy and sell within society, man. Okay? So, Lucky it's kind of late. All right, but so think about it. If your treasures are upon earth, right, and you value, chasing the bag, getting a whole bunch of cars, getting a whole bunch of money. If that's where your treasure is and your heart is, look, you had money is involved in that, man. Once again, I just said money is involved in that. Transaction is involved in that. You see? And you're gonna want it because that's where your treasure is, that's where your heart is, right? So when this society comes to that point where they implement this chip, right? When society comes to that point, then it's like, then if that's you, being all, caught up in taking the Karag, it's like take, it's like my thoughts is, man, it's late, man, it's locking. But if basically when they implement that chip, and if you're one of the people that is all into this world and the material possessions of this world and chasing the bag and all that whole lifestyle, that's where your treasure is and your heart is, you're gonna take the chip, man, because you're not gonna want to give it up. See that? You're not gonna want to give it up, man. In 2 Ezra 16, it talks about how let me just get it. All right. See, people that's like that, right? They're not gonna want to get. I woke up now. All right. People that's like that, they're not gonna want to get cut off from society, man. The people that's all into the charagma, it's like people that's all into the possessions of this world, they're not gonna want to give up the charagma. It's like they're not gonna want to give it up, so they're gonna take the chip so they can keep getting that. And ultimately, it's the Lord's doing. But this is 2 Ezra 16 and 40. Oh, my people, hear my word. Make you ready to thy battle. Right? And in those evils, be even as pilgrims upon the earth. See? So, and a pilgrim is someone who moves around. Right? And so the Lord is saying, when this hell breaks out here, right? We supposed to be on the move. Some brothers are going to be on the move, man, moving around, literally, venturing. See? That's what it's going to be. And the Lord is going to be with those brothers every step of the way. Okay? But if you're going to be a pilgrim, you're going to have to leave things behind. You see? You're going to have to leave, that car you love, right? So this lesson is getting into, basically, if you're tied into this world, if you're tied into the possessions of this world, if you're tied into this stuff, man, look, man, you're going to take that chip. That's why you got to understand, you got to have, you got to deal with this stuff to a point. You see? You can't be all into it like you see some of, the 2/3 of our people are all into this world. It's all about it, man. It's all fucking about it. It gotta be it gotta be to an extent. You deal with it, you operate while you're here, but it has to be to an extent, man. All right? It says, he that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise as he that hath no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. Right? As ultimately, judgment is coming. The time of judgment is coming. Right? It says, he that soweth as if he should not reap, so also he that planted the vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes. They that marry as they that shall get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers. And therefore they that labor in vain, because ultimately all this stuff is going to get destroyed. You see? So this is letting you know that, these things are temporary. That's what this is letting you know. That these things are temporary, man. Okay? See, but people in this world, they're not going to want that. They're not going to want to leave these things. They don't want it to be temporary. They don't want it. They don't want it to be temporary. They don't want to feel uncomfortable. They don't want none of that stuff, man. All right? See, so know. So if you so caught up in this world, because it's gonna come to a point where you're gonna have to choose, man. All right, I love getting this scripture, right? Revelation chapter 13 and verse 15. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. That the image of the beast, which the image of the beast is talking about this system, all right? It's, in the society we live in, okay? This whole Romanized system and society, right? It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and that the image of the beast should both speak, right? Speak, being, because what? The image of the beast, we're living, basically the things that's written in these scriptures about this Romanized system coming back, all right, we're actually living and seeing it today, okay? It says, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed, right? Slakia, that cause as many as that would not worship the image of the beast, right? So those that's not down with this system, a part of this system, right, says should be killed. And in the future, right, because the way this system is going, all right, as we all see, the way this system, right, the way this society and everything is going, right, is towards that chip, right? So if so basically, if you're not down with it, because there's another word for this word killed here, when you go into the etymology of it, goes to mean it's separated. So if you're not with it, if you're not down with that, you're going to be cut off from society. You're going to be an outcast, living off the grid, in the woods and everything, more than likely. I'm meaning to get me a tent. I'm gonna have to get one some way, somehow, man, Lord willing, maybe Lord willing next week, okay, but even if brothers don't got a tent, the Lord's still gonna be with them and provide, but also, legislation is gonna be made to where people that have our mentality, right, are gonna be put to death. See? So this system, right, if you so attached to this world, right, you're gonna be a part of it. You're gonna have to bow to this. You're gonna have to bow to the image of the beast, right? You're gonna have to bow. You're gonna have to take that charagma, right? Because you don't want to let go. Because you do not want to let go. See, it's a good thing the Lord does this for us right here. I'm gonna get it. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 30. Verses 8. I'm going to just read verse 8. It says, remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me. Right. You don't want the Lord to make you filthy rich. Right. And, you don't want him to make you extremely poor. You just want enough to get by. All right. You want enough to pay the bills. Right. Have some clothing. And keep some food, man, in your stomach. All right? That's basically it. There ain't nothing wrong with that. You got these fucking people in this world and on social media saying, make you some more money. Now, you can make you more money, but, don't get all into that, man. All right? Don't get taken. Don't let the money, take you away from the Lord. Don't let it, if that's something, you're a brother that's doing. Don't let the money take you away from the Lord and, distribute it amongst the camp. Okay, distribute that money amongst the camp as well. Help the camp out. All right? But, there's nothing wrong with, just being content, man. Some people think you gotta go, some people, Instagram or whatever, because I be on there scrolling. Some people make it seem like you got to go above and beyond. You see? What's wrong with if the Lord is taking care to where you have enough? What's wrong with that, man? Ain't nothing wrong with that. See? Let me get this. This is in a prayer. This is in the Lord's Prayer, man. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 6. Verse 11, right to the point. Give us this day our daily bread. So then your daily bread is, what you need to get by. You're asking the Lord to give you what, your daily bread, what you need to get by. You see? Get by from day to day. That's what you're asking the Lord for when you say that. See? So, Salakia. All right. So that's another thing too. If you're a person that has these riches, this is Proverbs 11:4. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death. You see, riches don't profit in the day of wrath, man. That's not going to benefit you when all hell breaks loose. What is all your money, cars, and jewelry going to benefit someone when it's chaos on every corner? The scripture said the city shall be troubled. So people, man, a man shall have no pity on his neighbor. They're going to take what they want. What the hell is money going to benefit you, or being rich and everything going to benefit you when all hell breaks loose? What is that going to benefit you when the nuclear missiles are above your head in the sky? It's not going to benefit you now, is it? Right? But it says, but righteousness delivers from death. You see? But, just showing you the point. If you are so into this world and not willing to let it go, and your treasure is upon earth, right, you're going to end up taking the charagma, man. There's no doubt about it. You're going to end up taking it. You see? That's why, hey, look, man, I say, it's going to be a hard time. It's going to be a test, right? It's going to be a hard time, when they make this charagma. We're going to have to live off the, grid and everything. But look, I got a saying, and you could say it. Look, man, I'll just say the saying, right? When they implement the MOTB, you will not see me. Meaning, I'm not with that, going to be up out of there, man. Okay? I ain't willing to take that shit. All right, because you take it, we know what's going to happen to you. Revelation 14, 9, and 10. Going to be destroyed in nuclear fire. All right, or you could get, and you'll get that grievous sword talks about Revelation 16 and 2. See, so, you don't want these things, man. You don't want these things, man. You don't want that, and ultimately to miss out on the chariot, because there's no repentance for taking the charagma. You're just going to have to be destroyed after that. There's no chances of coming back after taking the charagma. There's no effing chance. You are done, my friend. Right? So it's better to, when they implement this thing, and think about it too like this, man. Look, when they do that, you're not going to have to worry about going to work no more. Think about it. We're really going to, it's going to be like our first, well, not, I want to say first, but like, it's going to be like we've, somewhat free in a sense, You're not going to be operating in society. Now it's going to be you and Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, right, and enduring to the end. All right? That's what it's going to be. Okay? When they make this MOTB mandatory, that's what it's going to have to be, man. All right? And we know the Lord ain't going to give us nothing we can't handle. All right? But it's going to be a tough time, man. All right? It's going to be a tough-ass time. It ain't going to last long, but this is the way stuff is going. All right? Jacob's trouble is on the horizon. The hour of temptation is on the horizon. It's going to be a trying time, man, that we're coming into. But if that's a dangerous place to be, is attached to this world. That is a dangerous place. That's a dangerous effing place to be, man. It's attached to this world. Because if you are attached to this world, your treasure is on earth. You're going to take the chip, man. So, I'll leave it at that. So with that, so don't be attached, man. All right? You do what you got to do here. You can have not saying you can't have a business or whatever. Not saying you can't have these things. All right, we just keep the mindset that it's temporary and don't get attached to this stuff. Because ultimately, whether you're attached or not, this stuff we see around us is going to be destroyed. All right? Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed. These material possessions we got now is going to be destroyed. Your most important possession is your faith. Keep it with your life, man. All right? Keep it to the death. If that's the case. Okay? A dangerous place to be is attached to this world, so don't be attached to it. The scriptures say, cleave unto Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Be attached to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Sirach chapter 2, verse 3. Cleave unto him and depart not away. I'm gonna read these because verses 1 through 5 is a good is good, especially for the hour of temptation that's coming. So I'll just read through it. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation, prepare for tests. It's gonna try your faith, it's gonna test your faith. Set thy heart aright, meaning your mind. When you go through tribulations, keep the right frame of mind, be positive, and constantly endure. Keep on pushing. Hold on to the faith, and make not haste in time of trouble. Cleave unto him, who? The Lord, and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased to thy last end. No matter what happens, stick to with Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. Whatever you go through, whatever tribulation is brought upon you, take it cheerfully. Whether that be, you having to separate from society in the hour of temptation, or a brother that's martyred, you in the guillotine, you get taken to a FEMA camp, or even now, you go through various tribulations in your personal life, right? Scripture says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. Be patient, when you're going through your tribulation, and that's the thing, man. When you're going through tribulation, your mind can be frantic, you want the Lord to calm your mind. I remember the brother Ward said this, man. You want the Lord to calm your mind when you're going through tribulation, You want the Lord to calm your mind until he works his situation out. You see? So you got to be patient when thou art changed, when you put down to a lower state, when you going through tribulation. Be patient and wait for the Lord to get you up out of it. And we're going to have to do that once they implement this MOTB. They implement this MOTB, man. If you're going to stand for the Lord, you're going to be homeless. You ain't going to be able to work. All right? You're not going to be able to pay your bills. You ain't going to be able to pay your car note, your rent, your light bills. All right? Because that's basically buying it. All right? And that's basically buying. You buying the services. Okay? You're not going to be able to buy food or water from the store. Ain't no more Uber Eats, no DoorDash. None of that stuff. No going to the mall, buying no colognes, clothes. So just